As you know, this show is tape recorded. It's not a live broadcast. And between the taping of Check, Hazard Pay, FPUC, and this video, a major development erupted, and that is no deal. No deal between Steve Mnuchin and no deal between Nancy Pelosi. I had told you that Steve Mnuchin was going to make a counteroffer to Nancy Pelosi's offer of $2.2 trillion this afternoon, and that his offer was going to be the Problem Solvers Bill, which we had urged him to do, and that the Problem Solvers Bill at $1.5 trillion was a bill that Nancy Pelosi has rejected for the last 2 weeks. And minutes ago, we have that response. Nancy Pelosi again rejected the Problem Solvers Bill. So now we have two focuses going forward. One, executive order to get your second stimulus checks, a path that does not close today. Absolutely, categorically not. A path to get your checks, your FPUC, your rent, and any other additional aid that you need like hazard pay. But the Problem Solvers, an interesting twist later today, also tweeted out a message that said, our leadership is not leaving town. We are not leaving town despite the events of what's going to fold in the next 48 hours. Nancy Pelosi will be putting up a vote for her Democratic leadership in the next 24 hours, she says, to ratify in the House the $2.2 trillion bill. What I'm urging the Purple Power to do is inform those Democrats not to vote in favor of that $2.2 trillion bill, to send them a very clear message. If you vote in favor of it, you're gone. We offered you the Problem Solvers Bill. You rejected it. And if you do leave town or you do stay at $2.2 trillion, we are voting you out come this fall. This is Afternoons LALATE. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. This is Afternoons LALATE in a very atypical broadcast in a day in which everything is very atypical. As you know, this broadcast is usually rent, and it's usually the least most watched video of the day, but it's actually going to be the most important video of the day because now we have the developments. It was unclear where for me to put this broadcast at, to put it before Check, put it after Check, move it to evenings, hold the video, put it before the video, and I just thought it's just going to be a hot mess unto itself. So just leave it in its time slot, but make it very clear that this is the broadcast that has you the latest update before Evenings LALATE, which will have a lot more for you coming up after this one. This video was recorded after Check, after Hazard Pay, after FPUC at 3:30, 4:35, which are tape delayed shows, but after the announcement from Steve and Nancy Pelosi, which is no deal. No deal. So let me explain to you where we are and what's going on. This video will cover where we are going forward, what's going on into Evenings LALATE, and why we have to remain focused on how we'll still get to the final path and the final finish line. Go to the Finish channel, subscribe, because this is the best video you're going to have today in a changing environment and a lot of mess. And I understand that maybe this video won't be as watched as other videos of this channel today because it's in a time slot that's the least watched time slot. So I expect a lot of confusion around it, and I'm sorry. Also like this video because I'm here with a few minutes by the hour, and can you imagine that I'm, between recordings, everything changed as expected. All right, let me get to the incredible details, breaking news minutes ago. This videos are being recorded at about 1:30 Pacific Standard Time, and it's being recorded after Check, after Hazard Pay, and after PUA. And so I understand if you see those videos and say, well, there's something happened. Well, I got it. Those videos are tape delayed. They're tape delayed. And, you can't, they're not live, and they're not 15 minutes before they're posted either. They are taped several hours ahead of time due to processing time and editing time. But where we are today, minutes ago, is the following. What I had ostensibly suggested to you was going to happen, happened. Steve Mnuchin had not accepted Nancy Pelosi's offer for the last 2 days of chatting. I told you that this morning. I told you he said he had just been listening to her. I told you that he said that he was going to make a counteroffer and it was going to come Wednesday afternoon, and he did. And I also told you that he said that the counteroffer would be the Problem Solvers bill, which is an incredible achievement by this channel. The Purple Power had gotten the White House to do exactly what this channel had said, back the Problem Solvers bill. Mnuchin made clear he was supporting the Problem Solvers bill, saying the Problem Solvers bill, not, saying that bill or some bill, the Problem Solvers bill, he said. And he specifically used the hyphenated word, bipartisan Problem Solvers bill. Absolutely categorically incredible. Well, he made that counteroffer today in a very quick, sort of quiet moment and said, I made the counteroffer, and it seems like it was rejected instantly because both made a very quick news statement and said, hey, no deal. Now, let me explain to you how that news statement was made. They also said, well, we'll continue to talk, and we'll continue to look, and we'll continue to work, and we'll continue to this. Okay, as you've been saying for months. But understand where we are today. We're exactly where we are in July. I mean, really nothing has changed except that the Mnuchin has come up, but Pelosi has not moved. Pelosi was a 2-2 and 2-4 in July, was thrown to the curb and said, don't do that stupid bill. We're not doing 2-2, 2-4 in July. And on Monday, she introduced the same bill that has been rejected since July. You wonder why you don't have $4,000 in your bank account for 10 weeks of $400 a week of FPUC, which was offered by Steve Mnuchin in July, because she rejected it. You wonder why you don't have a $1,200 check that was offered to her in July, because she rejected it. You understand why you don't have any of these things that were offered to her, because she rejected it, because she wanted to do a salary raise for the department of this and department of that. So as we sit here tonight, I don't want to focus on the negative, I want to focus on the positive, and that is that executive orders. Executive orders. There's two major things to understand as we go into the evening. There is a path to get your executive orders by stimulus check. You get your path to get your FPUC by executive orders. And that path does not close today. And the president can do it, has said he would do it, has the money to do it, has the legal authority to do it, and can do it literally by the minute or the hour. And as soon as he does it, you can have your money within about 10 days. This is categorically incredible. He just has to do it. And that's as simple as that. Trump for the win at the 11th hour after these negotiations fell apart. Now, I want to also say that the Problem Solver sent out a wonderful tweet minutes before this recording that says, we are urging people not to leave town in Congress until they got the stimulus package deal done. This is incredibly important because there's a little bit of confusion, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on people's schedules. I really don't care what they're doing, these congressmen. My point is that if you vote in favor of the 2.2, I don't care if you're still in town or not in town. What Nancy Pelosi quickly said, which again was sort of a threat, and I don't like her threats, was we're going to vote on the 2.2 tomorrow in the House, and we're going to approve it, and that's it. Well, first of all, I need you to be on social media, Purple Power, and say, hey, if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat and you vote in favor of the 2.2, you're gone. We're making a note. We're making a note of who votes in favor of that 2.2. And whoever votes in favor of the 2.2, we're making sure that the Purple Power, which is the LALATE platform that was launched by LALATE, that has, 2 million views on YouTube every 48 hours and 500,000 social media followers and 275,000 followers on YouTube. And we're going to use the entire platform to make sure that any person who votes in favor of the $2.2 trillion Pelosi bill is gone, is not reelected. As simple as that. But what we're also going to do is we are going to support the Problem Solvers, who've done a really quite good job and said, hey, don't leave town. But I'm not going to focus a lot of effort on, are you in town or you're not in town? If you want to skip town and leave, go. I'm going to keep a note of who voted for that bill, because ultimately that's the record that we have to say you're gone. Now let's focus on the positive. The positive is the president and executive orders. Let's get this done, Mr. President. Let's get it done. I understand this is rent, this video, and usually EIDL, but today it's just about everything. It's a time slot to give you the update about where we're going. Where we're going is really pushing the president to get this done by executive order, and the president can do it, will do it, should do it, has the money to do it, and has the legal authority. He just hasn't done it yet. Mnuchin made clear today that the president wants to give you certain things, wants to give you a stimulus check. He said again today. Wants to give you enhanced unemployment benefits, wants to give you money for schools, wants to give money for testing, wants to give these things. The question is, when does he do it? And that's where you really have to apply the pressure. You have to get behind the social media platforms and push Mnuchin and Meadows and Kudlow, and we'll identify other people in the White House administration that you think we should be pushing the envelope to, that don't have large social media platforms. You want people that have less than 1 million followers, so they see your tweets and say, hey, executive order, let's get this done. Let's get this done by executive order. What could be done by executive order? First, stimulus checks. The president has the money for the stimulus checks. $300 billion he's identified. President said he'll do it by executive order. President can do it by executive order. The money's not in Treasury. It's outside of Treasury. Second, the president can do LWA by executive order. He said, or FPUC, whatever you want to call it. He has done it before, and he can do it again. If you watch the video before this one, right before this one, I explained functionally how he could do FPUC or LWA 2.0 by executive order. What's incredibly great news is you would not lose a week of benefits. Now, I understand there's a whole issue about the $100 threshold, and I got it with LWA. But beyond that, your LWA is really lined up beautifully beyond that $100 threshold to get benefits right away with funds that exist, with no lapse of weeks of coverage. And if you've already gone to week 6 and we're at, let's say, week 8, they'll do it to week 7. They're not going to lose a week on you. The question is, what other benefits could the president do? He could absolutely do rent. He could do grants. He could do a lot of different things. The question is when and how. Mnuchin started the day saying, I say we are going to give it one more try to get this done, and I think we'll hopefully get something done. I had said you need to tailor his comments back because he tends to do this optimistic pitch in all his comments, but that you had to really recognize that he said we're going to give it one more try. And that was the one more try. And that he understood that this was going to be a response. He said later this afternoon we're going to deliver a response. He did. And I think we'll have a very reasonable response to something that's very similar to what has been a bipartisan proposal that the problem solvers had worked on, and hopefully we can get it done. Well, he did offer the problem solvers bill, and again, she did reject it. Because as you said, there's clearly some businesses which are impacted, small businesses which are impacted and need more money for kids which are going to school. We need liability protection for small business to open. When asked why is this sort of eroding, he said, the speaker and I have a relationship on things, on businesses. We agree upon all the aspects, we just don't agree upon the amount of money. We're trying to see if we can manage a package that gets done for some of what everyone wants. We're hopeful that we can get it done something. There's a reasonable compromise. There's something the president wants to get done and help those parts of the economy that still need help. We're going to try and see if something gets passed. Now, what I want you to understand is the word pass is important in that sentence, because he was then asked, even if you do get an agreement with Pelosi, which he didn't today, the Republicans are pushing back and say that they won't agree to it. What are you going to do? He says, Meadows and I speak to Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell yesterday, went through our thoughts, and we'll see if we get a compromise with the speaker on something that works, and then we'll continue to work on both sides and see if we can get the language of the policies. Basically saying he had not really pushed the envelope to get an agreement from the Republicans on anything because he didn't know if he was going to get an agreement from Pelosi, and he didn't. Now, understand the markets, the Wall Street, the stocks, the industries, the indices all saw his remarks in the early part of the day and said, oh, that's really great news. He says there's going to be a deal. And I'm like, yes, come on, folks, hold up. And that was early in the day, and the stocks all traded up sharply. And then McConnell came out and said, what deal? These parties are very far apart. I don't see a deal happening. Sort of, McConnell was sort of like, the person spoiling the end of Who Shot JR. It's like, oh, by the way, I know exactly shot out JR. Oh, thank you, Mitch. So Mitch basically told us that, I don't see a deal happening between Pelosi and Mnuchin. But additionally, he didn't even think that the Senate was going to ratify it. And we never got to that point. You got to understand that for any bill to be passed, you need both the House, the Senate, and the President to approve it. The President's not going to approve 2.2. The President's not going to approve 2.4. The Republicans in the Senate are not going to approve to anything. And we also had Chuck Grassley, who's one of the leaders of the GOP in the Senate, saying, we're not going up towards 1.5. Well, he said, at 1.5, we're in dangerous territory, not getting any support in the Senate. But if you head towards 2, just, yeah, good luck on that one. That's never happening. And so that's why we're supporting the Problem Solvers bill, because it's bipartisan, it was nearly tailored. We don't need salary raises. The reason why the bill's at $2 trillion is Nancy Pelosi wants to give a bailout of her buddies. Not a bailout, that's not even the correct expression. She wants to give a salary raise to her buddies. Treasury, Judiciary, Copyright Office, Parks and Recs. All these government agencies were going to get salary raises in a bill that's proposed as a stimulus package. It's not a stimulus package. It's a budget resolution bill. It's giving salary raises and exhausting all the funds and then bloating the bill up bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because all it is stuff that has nothing to do with COVID-19. And as you sit here tonight, Nancy Pelosi has failed the American people. She's failed the American people. And we can focus on the negativity, and we can actually focus on, throwing a lot of anger and a lot of angst and a lot of, I'm exhausted, all those type of remarks back. But we're not, because I told you this was happening. I told you this was going to happen on last Friday. I generally don't like to say things negative about people other than congressional people. But there have been some people in the last 24 hours that have literally sat before camera and told you, you're going to have a deal tomorrow. Congratulations. I've heard you're going to have a stimulus package agreement tomorrow. Congratulations. Who told you that? 100,000 likes, 750,000 views. No. There was no indication anywhere in the remarks from Steve Mnuchin in the last 24 hours that there was going to be an agreement today. Actually, that was said before even. Yeah. Bottom line is we're dealing with facts here. We're not dealing with opinions. You can certainly ask my opinions. I'll certainly tell you my opinions. But when I'm telling you facts, I'm telling you facts. And the facts are that Mnuchin said that there was going to be a counteroffer today. He had not accepted Pelosi's offer, and that there was no deal, and that he was going to see what her reaction was to something which was exactly what he had offered in July, but was a little bit higher. It was exactly what was offered by the Problem Solvers 2 weeks ago, which she rejected. And it was exactly sort of part of the course of a woman who has not moved off of her position since July. Coming up on Evenings at LALATE, I'll have a lot of more developments on what's unfolding. I understand it's very confusing. I understand there's a lot of twists and turns. I don't want you to be negative. I don't want you to be pessimistic. I don't want you to lose faith. I don't want you to lose hope. Because executive order pushing behind the Problem Solvers is far from over. We're going to get through it. We're going to get through it. Go to the Friends channel, subscribe. Subscribe and stay with this. Also like this video. More coming up this evening. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay LA for more.